Greetings, friends and fellow cigar box guitar enthusiasts. Del Puckett here, and welcome to part 4 of the David Crowder 3-string cigar box guitar build. I've been doing a lot of work off camera. I just installed the screws and burned the solder burns on the top. Of course, I sanded it super smooth, and then I stained it with just natural. But just look how dark that turned out to be with just a natural stain. I also drilled the tuning holes and then did some fun carving here on the top there to kind of match this bottom part here. So it kind of gives it that just a real classic look on the headstock. I think I'm going to finish this off with some nitrocellulose, but first I'm going to install the frets and then dress the frets. We also did a trough here. Made sure I had a nice back angle. And yeah, so what I did on this one here, now I'm going to do that same exact thing on this one here. And you can see the difference here between the pre and the post as far as the color of the stain and the neck. So, like I said, what I did for this one, now I'm going to do for this one. All right, here we go. We are using the Shinto rasp to carve out the notch, and then using the solder burns to do the position markers for the top. Next, I'm doing the layout for the screws that will be the position markers for the fretboard. And the reason being is because the original David Crowder cigar box guitar had screws for the position markers for the front, and they wanted a replica. So I just start off with a small drill, and then I work up with a bigger and bigger drill. And then when I put the screws in, I just make sure that the head of the screw doesn't stick out any further than the fretboard. So I got to kind of recess it. And yeah, I just want that to be nice and smooth. And of course I use the saw to get all the gunk out of the frets. Oh yeah, this is a really fun part of it. Here I use the little handmade disc sander in the drill bit to kind of carve the headstock. This is a very transformative part. It's so fun to do, and you can use that disc sander to do anything, but it's really good for the headstock. And then I just went overboard with the sandpaper. My gosh. Start off with the coarse, the real heavy, and just work your way up to the really fine grit sandpaper. And then I took some time to do the screw holes for the tuners. I did not want to do the staining on a time lapse because it's such a transformative process. I wanted you guys to see this actually. This wood, the color of this poplar is amazing when you hit. I'm just hitting it with natural stain. Natural. Behold, ready? Watch. Look at that headstock. Guys, you cannot make this up, dude. You cannot make this up. Look at that. See, if I was to do this in a time lapse, you wouldn't get the dramatic effect. Okay, check that out, guys. Oh my gosh. Not that it wasn't beautiful before. Of course it's beautiful before. This just enhances it. So, the subtle difference on this headstock right here. The other headstock, I went for like a real traditional kind of concave corners. This one here, I went for a traditional round corner. And Okay, watch the top here. Okay. Yikes. Of course, the fretboard, the contrast is not so much on this, on the front of it, as it is on the sides here. And the reason being is because of the contrast of the wood, dark wood versus the light wood. It's all by design, folks. I'm just letting it soak in. You can just see that wood is just taking a drink. Now I let that stain get in the fret grooves. I'll go back and get it all out, but oh my gosh. All right, well, we got a lot done. I'm gonna let the stain dry overnight. And then tomorrow we will fret it and then put in the tuners. And oh yeah, I also wanted to show you. So these are going to be string through. So I already got the holes drilled, and those are 1/8 inch. And then we'll be using rivets on the top, and then these awesome little ferrule type things here that I get from cbgiddy.com. Again, guys, all my parts I get from cbgiddy.com. And if you guys want to help support this channel, there is a link in the video description. It's the affiliate link. And you guys can use my promo code PuckettCBG and get a 10% discount. All right, I'm going to bed. I'll see you guys in the morning, and then we will pick up where we left off. Don't go anywhere. It's been a while since I was clean shaved. I did hit this with the nitrocellulose. This stuff here, they put on all the old guitars, and it makes for a really nice, legit looking seal. I already put the frets on this guy. I haven't dressed him yet, I just put the frets on. And I didn't want to do too much work without like showing you guys what's going on here. So on this one here, I am going to install the frets. I already started about halfway through, and I'm like, nope, I need to like. So on these frets here, I make sure just to get just a regular pair of wire cutter dikes, but there's like a flat bevel on these things here. A lot of times there's actually a bevel on these things. You don't want to use that, because when you do, and you cut it off here, and you got more sticking out. But if you can get the flat side there, they make them. You just got to look for them. And man, it makes it so nice when you put the edge of the side here, right next to the wood, as flat as you can, and you go back. You can't even feel nothing right there, man. Man, these guys are so awesome. But you do get a little bit of a cut back on this thing here. It's not a lot, it's just slight. I don't know if you can see. I'll try to hold it. If I hold it straight up and down, and try to get in focus there, maybe you can see the tip there. There's a little, yeah, there you go. It's just like a subtle back angle to it, and that's just because I'm Maybe it's the angle of this thing. I'm not really sure. But so what I do with the angle is I use that angle piece to go back. I make sure that that's on the treble side of the neck. And what that does is that gives me budget, right? So that I don't have to worry about that thing sticking out that way. If it's angled back and I just shave off the top of the fret, then it'll forever be smooth, right? You won't ever feel that thing. But if it was angled out, and I of course, if I shaved it and then maybe the wood shrank or got wore away or something like that, and that fret started popping out, you'd start feeling it. So all I'm doing by using the angle that goes back is I'm just hedging my bets for a longer lifespan of fret wear. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but in my mind, it makes sense. So after you cut the frets, you'll notice that they're sticking out. You can just feel them, and they're just sharp as. Yeah, you can see them. On the top, not so bad. This side. So we are going to use the grinder to take these edges off. Now here's a cool tip. You want your light to come down kind of at, I don't want to say at an angle, but definitely, in this case here, the light's right here. Okay, it's coming at me like that, like at an angle. And so what I do is I get a white piece of paper, clean white piece of paper, and I put it underneath it from where my eyes are going to go. So my eyes are going to go at this angle. Ba-doom, hit this light. It's going to go up at this angle here. That's why I got it off at an angle here so I can see a nice bright spot directly underneath where I'm going to work. And so what that does is it just gives me contrast, visibility when I'm looking down here. In fact, let me just show you here real quick here what I'm seeing here. So here's the grinder, here's the light. Again, it's up at an angle. And I'm just getting a flat piece of paper, another angle here, so I can see a nice white spot right here. And then I can see the contrast from what I need to grind off right there. Zing, bam, done. Next one, bam, done. See it? Makes it easy. Easy to see anyway. Now we are using the grinder to grind off the fret ends. And since this is a time lapse, you don't really get to hear the sound of the grinder. So I will make the sound of the grinder for you. Okay guys, make sure you are wearing your absolute coolest safety goggles. I went for the Bono glasses. Because if that thing explodes going 100 miles an hour and you're not wearing your safety goggles, dude, you do not want to be that guy, dude. Either do I. So now I want it to be uniform. Have you heard of the word uniformity? Okay, so I want all of these edges to be exactly the same if you want you to look out down the line there. The best way to do that is with this guy. Just hold this at a slight angle. Wipe away the sawdust. And then take a look right down the line there. And you can tell, I mean, it just looks like, and what I like to do is I like to hold it and then just kind of give it a little pull toward me, just a little bit.
What that does is it kind of like gives it a little round on the top here. It's just I'm going to do most of that with the file, but I just kind of just take off a little bit more just by rolling it just a little bit here. Just at the very end, just kind of a little roll. And you can feel it like, you can feel it grab the grit of that sandpaper when you do that. It's like, so yeah, that's for uniformity. And now I'm ready to do the dressing of the fret. And I like this orange handled fret end file here. It's concave on this side, concave on this side. What I did is I just got an extra piece of fret wire and I just kind of rubbed it against this thing just so I could take a look and feel to see if maybe one was a coarse side and one was a fine side. But I can't really tell. And I can't tell if it's a push. It looks to me like I got a push as opposed to pull, which makes sense. You don't want to pull on those frets. So so if I'm wrong about that, let me know, because I can't tell. I think both of these grooves on either side are the same. And what I do is I I mean, they're smooth, and it's smooth right here. So you can actually rub it on the fretboard. Nothing's going to happen. It's only going to be the smooth side touching, but the grooves get the top of the fret. And again, I have my light position, so I have another angle, boom, going up to the light here. I got this light here. And it's at the perfect angle so that when I do like a little bevel right here, dude, I can see it like glowing. I'll try to show you here what I'm looking at here. So I got my light at an angle. And you can see these ones here that I've already done. 1, 2, 3. And see, this is the next one. So this is the difference from this guy to this guy. So I just polish it, and I kind of do the round over as well with the file, just kind of roundy as I go over. Now, so this one here doesn't have that reflection on it yet. So here we go. Ready? I need my hand. Sorry, guys. I just hold it. So like I said, I go over, I go round. And you don't have to do it like multiple times, it's just one time, and you can see, boom, perfect. And then to polish, I just get that fine sandpaper, that mighty fine sandpaper, and I hold it up at an angle, same angle. And I just polish. That's basically what you're doing, is you're just polishing them. All right, so this process, this neck gets super sawdusty. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a lot of sawdust on this. So all you need to do is just a little bit of water, your favorite shop towel. And since this thing's already got the nitrocellulose, you're not gonna drown it. You're just gonna just a damp cloth. And just like that, it's brand new again. It's like, oh my gosh, a miracle of water. That nitrocellulose really protects it. And you gotta kind of go with the frets, get the gunk out of the fret slots. And the reason being I'm doing this is I'm going to hit it with one more coat of nitrocellulose, just to cover those areas that I exposed by filing and sanding right there. I want to get the entire thing recovered. And to do that, I want to wipe out all of the, I still got to get the sawdust out of those holes there. And the best way to do that is with just a toothpick. If I shellacked it, and all that would do would just seal in that sawdust right there. So, yeah, look at all that. Dude, that is a lot of freaking sawdust. And metal dust. Okay, that's one neck. And because this is water, it dries quick. See how dusty that headstock is? And now how dusty it's not. And the same thing, got to get out the sawdust from the solder burn position markers. You can see the difference between the clean and the dusty. Because it's all stained. It's just, that's the dusty part. Watch here, check this out. It's dusty right here. So that's genuine dust. And I don't really care about this part. I just wanted to show you. I'm mainly interested in protecting or removing the dust from the heel and the neck and the fretboard and the headstock, because I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to give it some more re-wrench after it dries. So yeah, yikes guys, I'm over here working on this guitar, putting in the tuners. All of a sudden I hear this strange sound. I'm like, oh, like, what on earth does that sound? And then I open the door and I hear a river, a lake. I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is the deal? So I think the river was rising, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know about that. I was like, oh, it was raining. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know about that. It's like, dude, we got a river. The river is rising, and now I'm freaking underwater, dude. Oh my gosh. What, you want to shine the light over here, dude? So this is underneath the workshop. This is not good. Got two waterfalls, one over there. Oh yeah, let me show you the back door. What do you think, Kat, huh? What do you think, Gordon?
Good thing I got one of these paddles, dude.
This will come in handy. So today is the next day, and you can see here that this river is, that's a football field. Definitely a football field across. The greenhouse and the workshop are flooded. I'll take you a walk over there and you can see for yourself. Check us out. The trees are getting a good water though, at least. So it must have broke upstream somewhere because it's coming in here as well. We got water coming out all the way up and down here through the greenhouse, as well as through my garden. So, what do you think, Moj? Try to divert the water with those bricks here, but kind of concerned because it's going underneath the mobile home. Worst case scenario is going to be that it's just going to need to be re-leveled, I'm guessing. So yep. Oh yeah, it's crazy. All right, let's get started. All right, I'm not going to lie to you. It's slightly unnerving working when you can hear the torrent underneath your feet. But I have been getting a lot of stuff done. So on this one here, I've actually kind of worked. I want to think backwards. And the reason has to do with the fact that these are the string through builds. So in order for me to get all these guys in the right spot, I had to first put the neck in place, line it up, and then put the neck in the right exact spot where it was supposed to be, and then screw it in place. And then once it was screwed in place, then I drilled through these holes out the back. And so once I had the holes out the back that I knew they were in the right spot, then I grabbed the, where's that here? Now that I'm looking for it, I can't find it. Here it is. This little ferrule here, measured the diameter of this shaft here. Boom. Got the appropriate size drill, and then drilled it to the appropriate depth, and then glued these guys in place. And these here are just those string catchers. So the string is going to go in there and then out the bottom, through the hole, up the top. And I also had to work in reverse in order to get the holes to come out the top, right? So what I did is once I got these holes drilled through the back, then I screwed the top on in place. I made sure that these holes all lined up so that it was in the exact right spot. And then I drilled in reverse through, this is before I put the ferrules in, through, and then popped it out the top so that I knew that these holes would be in the exact right spot. And then I got these little pop rivets and pop riveted those guys in place. Does that sound like a bunch of shenanigans? But hey, that's what you got to do to get everything to line up perfectly. No questions asked. So that's where we're at now. Now, next, I am heating up my glue gun, and I'm also heating up my soldering iron. And we are going to solder up some piezos. And for that, I use this wire here. This is a 24 gauge. It's this red and black paired wire. Seems to be the right thickness and has the right wiggleosity there. It's not too thick, not too thin. And it seems to work good with my wire strippers. And I just have those here too as well. I just put this on the third one, give it a little something and strips it up real nice. Obviously we're going to flux the tips. And then it's just a matter of soldering it up. First thing I do right off the bat is tin these guys. I'm not going to bore you with all those details, but I did want to get you caught up to speed. And then, so I'm going to do a lot more work, and then I'll get you caught up again. So don't go anywhere. So real quick, I wanted to show you guys how I solder up my piezos. So you guys know I get all of my parts at cbgiddy.com, and if you use my affiliate link and my promo code, you can get 10% off of all parts at cbgiddy.com. So first things first, you're going to heat up your soldering iron as hot as you can get it, and then clean it off. I just clean it off with a wet sponge, and it's nice and shiny. And then I make sure I got the flux here, and that just makes everything kind of flowy. I like this thin-ish soldering solder here. I'll just put some on the tip, and then I just touch the tip to the piezo just so quickly and so matter-of-factly. Now, if you run out of solder on your tip, you just simultaneously touch the solder and the iron at the same time. Boom, just like that, just like doom. And then you get like a little glob, just like that. So I'm doing 10 here just because it doesn't make sense just to do one, just to heat up all your gun just to do one. So you might as well just bust it out all at the same time, a whole bunch of them. Figure why not? Look at that, bam, oop. Let go, let go. Clean, 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 clean. So there it is. In less than, what, 2 minutes? I got, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 piezos. It looks like a bouquet of flowers, doesn't it? So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This next section is going to go by pretty fast. Here's the hole that we drilled out for the piezo using the old Forstner bit. And again, what I like to do is take off one of these edge walls. So a couple ways you can do this. You can just cut it, or you can file it. Or you can just get a needle nose and break it. Doesn't matter. Now, typically, I mean, you want the wires to go through there. What we've been doing is we've been playing this fun game where I got this deck of cards and I say, pick a card, any card, except for that card. Don't pick that card. And I've never shuffled these things here, so they're still in the same order. But I did take liberty to select specifically for these two builds, two kings. King of Hearts and a King of Clubs. So for this guy here, I think I will randomly pick the King of Hearts. So the King of Hearts is going to be the piezo cover. Now, I've been heating up the hot glue gun. So I'll give it some glue here in the bottom of the hole. Just enough, not too much, not too little. Get my piezo, stick it right in the hot glue. Now, if I had a toothpick, I do have a toothpick right here. This way you don't burn your fingers. Now, so what I'm doing is I'm going to do four things at once here. So first off, I'm going to level. The other thing I want to make sure is I want to make sure that my wires go through that little notch I just made. Now, see how this thing moves around? I don't know if you can see that, but it's like kind of moving around. You want to hold it in place. Now, what I'm striving for, what I'm aiming for is centered and leveled. And you got to kind of keep it, you got to keep adjusting it until the glue dries. And it takes about a minute or so. So I'm just holding it in place. You can give it a little air dry to cool it down. Yeah, you want to make sure that it's centered and leveled and that these wires are coming through the trough. A little notch I made here. Sometimes the glue dries fast and sometimes it takes forever. So, okay, we're almost done here. And you can kind of tell when you wiggle it and it doesn't move that you're good. Okay, I think we're good. Tap on it. I could like force it if I wanted to, but I don't. Okay, we're good. Double check, we're centered and we're leveled. So now with the card ready, now you can be a little generous if you want with this stuff here. And not that you didn't have to be generous before, you can certainly. And I just kind of just fill it in enough so that if there's any extra, it'll just squeeze out. And I'm trying to gauge the right amount. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place the, and this could be anything. You don't have to be a card. It could be just a paper towel. It could be whatever you want. Okay, now you need to make sure that there's nothing in the way of that the wires are not in the way. Okay, now I'm just letting this thing dry just a little bit just because I want it to be straight. And I'm getting the top and I'm pushing the top down so that it's exactly in the right place that it needs to be. Now what I can do is I can line up my holes with a little toothpick just to make sure that the top is exactly in the right spot. And you should be able to feel the heat coming through the top of the cigar box lid. Now what this does is this allows the piezo to come in perfect contact with the underside of the cigar box guitar top without sticking to the cigar box top. Ah, I said that, and then look at that, little bit came out the hole there on the side and stuck to the top. But imagine how bad it would be if that card wasn't there. Oh, come on. And just like that, we are ready for the next step. Yay! Now we are going to wire up the pickups. The original David Crowder 3-string cigar box guitar had one of these Les Paul style 3-way switches. And I always get this confused, which potentiometer to use for a single coil. So I went online and I did some research, and the rule of thumb is to use the 250K for the single coil pickup. And the reason being is because the tone that you get from the 250 is a little bit more of a warmer tone. Excuse me, cat. Ow, ee, ow, ooh, ow, ee, ow. Throw you in the river. You can use either potentiometer for any kind of a pickup, but the tendency is that the 500K gives you a brighter sound, whereas the 250K gives you a warmer sound. So we're gonna stick to the rules. We're gonna obey the rules for this guy. We're gonna do a 250K potentiometer for the volume control for the single coil pickup in this 3-string cigar box guitar. After we drill the hole, I get a little round file and take off all that paper, because the paper is just in the way. It's just easier to deal with everything with all that paper being in your way. And then, voila, and voila. Just like that. So I had a choice here. I have the standard shaft and then these long shafts. But if you read the fine print here on the long shaft, it says good quality for general purpose, and this is high quality, great for guitar volume. So I'm opting for the high quality on this guy here. Here's the problem, is that this is not a long shaft, it's a short shaft. And this short shaft is barely going to be long enough to get through. So what I do in this situation here is I bust out the old Forstner bit and I take out some material so that when it goes through, that the threads actually come out the top so they can screw into it. Does that make sense? Because if not, I wouldn't be able to get to those threads. So that's just a little trick I do to kind of get away by using these high quality short shafters. And forgot something. Normally I ground one of the screws to the hinge when I'm using it. I usually use a hinge for my string catches. But in this case here, I'm going with the through the body string style with the ferrules and stuff like that, which means I'm gonna have to ground differently. And so normally I was just barreling ahead, and I forgot. It's like, oh my gosh, I gotta ground the string. Okay. Yeah, grounding is very important. You do not want to mess up on the ground, because the grounding problem is the worst problem to have. So what that means is I'm gonna have to take this thing apart, because I got it all together, pretty much all together, which is easy. Just take these two screws out, pop the neck out, because I need to get access. I'd already glued these things in too. Shame on me for not thinking. So I popped this guy out, because this is going to be where I'm going to ground. And the reason this one here is because this one here, I'll put my finger here and then spin it over. It's going to be on the electronic side there. So it just makes for a shorter wire. So, yep, didn't think that one through all the way, but I caught myself before I got too far. Okay, so we're going to take this guy off. Just like that. And run my wire through the little hole there. All right, I'm free thinking on the fly here, because I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing. So these ferrules here, string ferrules, I knocked it out. I was gonna try to tie a wire to it, and I was getting nowhere. I'm getting nowhere fast. So I'm thinking, what the heck am I gonna do? What the heck am I gonna do? So I'm thinking. And I think I remember one time some guy doing something with some like foil or something. And I thought, if I only had some foil, then I could, but I'm foiled because I don't have any foil. But what I do have is an empty beer can. Hello. So what I think I'm gonna do here is just cut out a little piece of aluminum to the exact size that'll fit over all three of those guys. Of course, I'll punch out the holes for the strings, and then solder to the aluminum, and the aluminum will be touching the metal ferrules there. That's the theory, and I'm going to try it out, and hopefully it works. I'll be interested to find out if this works. So I cut out a little square, and then with the sandpaper, I sanded all the paint and anything off of that, so it was just down to the metal. And then I soldered a ground wire to it, and I inspected it with the magnifying glass to make sure. I don't want to pull too much on it, but I wanted to make sure that I have good contact. Now I'm also going to verify, double check continuity with this thing here to make sure that is going to be a good. And if that's the case, then I'm just going to slip this over all three ferrules. Bink. And cross my fingers. So all I did is I just put this piece of metal on the ferrules, got a nail, went to the back side, poked a hole, ding, 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 in each one of these guys. And I just put a little imprint, a little dent where I wanted the hole. And then I took the nail and I kind of pounded it in, bing, 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 with my hammer. So now I have 3 perfectly sized holes. Why 3 holes? Because 6 holes would be 3 holes too many. Here's the ohm meter. And I have a little alligator clip here. Clips to the ground. This is what it looks like when it's continuity. Open. So I'm going to go around here to the ferrules. Touch them one at a time. Top one. Middle one. And bottom one. Yes! So both pickups, the mag pickup and the piezo, both go to this three-way switch here. So the piezo comes in on this side. I put a little P there for piezo. And then the magnetic pickup comes up to this side. And then the output of the switch goes to the input of the potentiometer. The output of the potentiometer goes to the jack. Everything's grounded and tested and confirmed. I almost forgot to show you the screws, and I got a nice long one to go through there just to make sure that they are never going to come out. Never going to come out. So got it all buttoned up, got all the corners on, pop rivets in place. Oh, I need to put a volume control knob on there. But, oh yeah, this is what I wanted to point out. So I've got these strap buttons up here. Guys, check this out. Just take my finger and ta-da! Perfectly balanced. Perfectly balanced. All right, guys, be sure to tune into the next one where we will create a saddle, and then we will string it up, set it up, tune it up, and tear it up. All right, guys, be sure to check the links in the video description below, and we will see you in the next video. Cheers.